On a blustery Saturday night in March, a South Carolina state trooper said this 2019 Dodge Challenger was going more than 30 miles over the speed limit. With sirens on, he chased for 30 miles until...
You think he ran out of gas?
They ran out of gas, and troopers used a pit maneuver.
Pit.
Eventually, the Challenger died.
Put your hands up!
They surrounded the car and repeatedly asked the driver, Dejon Anderson, to open the doors.
We're gonna bust the glass!
When the doors finally opened, troopers took out Don Coleman first.
Oh no, there's a baby right there. I don't have nothing.
Then they pulled out Dejon Anderson. With the two in handcuffs, they turned to the 5-year-old in the back seat.
What's his name? Jordan?
Cairo Jordan.
Here, hold your jacket, okay? Back out. Let's try to get you out of here. Y'all just ran out of gas?
Yes, that's why we were trying to hurry up and
Get to Georgia?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, you are under arrest, okay?
A trooper asks for the child's name again, and Dejon tells him Cairo's name is Jason Jordan. Don Coleman says she's the child's aunt and can take care of him. The trooper makes a call and comes back with this.
I'm going to call the lieutenant. Okay. And see what you want to do with me. She's his sister. Just get the child, Jason, with you, and get him up to the 33 at a hotel for the night until y'all got...
A trooper in South Carolina pulls over a speeding car, high-speed chase, 30 miles. The car runs out of gas. When they finally get the doors open, there's a 5-year-old boy in the back seat. His name is Cairo Jordan. 1 month later, a mushroom hunter finds a child's body stuffed inside a suitcase in the Indiana woods. Same boy. Make it make sense. When the clock strikes midnight, the truth comes out. I'm 12 a.m. crime, and every single day I bring you real cases of domestic violence that turn deadly. The stories the system tried to bury, the victims who deserve justice. If you're about that raw, unfiltered truth, hit subscribe. New case drops every day at midnight. Don't sleep on justice. This is 12 a.m. crime. Cairo Jordan was 5 years old, just 5. He should have been playing with toys, learning to read, being a kid. Instead, his life was in the hands of 2 women who were supposed to protect him. His mother, Dejon Anderson, and her partner, Dawn Coleman. These 2 were living together in Louisville, Kentucky, and Cairo was caught in whatever mess they had going on. Now, before we get into how Cairo's life ended, you need to understand that there were signs, there were moments, opportunities where someone could have stepped in. And the biggest one? That traffic stop in South Carolina. March 2022. A Saturday night, cold, windy. A South Carolina state trooper clocks a 2019 Dodge Challenger going more than 30 miles over the speed limit. He hits the sirens. The car doesn't stop. It speeds up. What starts as a routine traffic stop turns into a 30-mile chase through South Carolina roads at night. 30 miles. That's not someone who just didn't see the blue lights. That's someone running. The Challenger keeps going until it can't go anymore. The car runs out of gas. But even then, the driver doesn't stop. Troopers have to use a pit maneuver to finally get the car to die off. They surround the vehicle, guns drawn, sirens everywhere, and they're yelling at the driver to open the doors.
We're gonna bust the glass!
The doors finally open. First person out, Dawn Coleman, then Dejon Anderson. Both of them are immediately put in handcuffs. But here's the thing, there's a third person in that car, a child, in the back seat, 5 years old. Cairo Jordan. One of the troopers goes to get him out. The little boy is just sitting there, confused, probably scared out of his mind. The trooper talks to him, tries to calm him down.
Here, hold your jacket, okay? Back out. Let's try to get you out of here. Y'all just ran out of gas?
Yes, that's why we were trying to hurry up and get
to Georgia?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, you are under arrest, okay?
A trooper asks for the child's name again.
Dejon Anderson tells the officer the boy's name is Dejon Jordan, not Cairo. Jason. She lies about her own son's name. Let me tell you something. When a parent lies about their child's name to the police, that's a red flag the size of a football field. Dawn Coleman jumps in and tells the trooper she's the boy's aunt. She says she can take care of him. The trooper makes a call, talks to someone, comes back and says this.
I'm going to call Lieutenant. Okay. The one of the two inmates, she's the sister. Just get the child, Jason, with you, and get him up to the 33 at a hotel for the night until y'all got...
So they let Dawn Coleman take Cairo, a woman who just led police on a 30-mile chase. Woman who isn't even his mother. They hand this little boy over to her and tell her to take him to a hotel. The trooper probably thought he was doing the right thing. Keep the kid out of the system for the night. Let family handle it. But here's what nobody knew at that moment. That decision sealed Cairo's fate. Dejon Anderson gets charged with child endangerment and speeding. She posts bail the next day. March 13th, walks right out, gets in a car, and drives off. With Cairo. 1 month later, Cairo Jordan is dead. April 2022, Southern Indiana, Washington County. A person is out hunting for mushrooms in the woods near Salem. It's a small, quiet area, the kind of place where nothing really happens. They're walking through the trees, looking at the ground, when they see something that doesn't belong. A suitcase. A hard-shell suitcase with a Las Vegas design on it, just sitting there in the middle of the woods. Now, most people would probably keep walking. Maybe they'd think someone dumped some old luggage, but something made this person stop. Maybe it was the way it was placed. Maybe it was the smell. Whatever it was, they opened it. Inside was the body of a child, a little boy, stuffed inside a suitcase like he was trash, like he didn't matter. The mushroom hunter calls the police immediately, and when investigators arrive, they're hit with the reality of what they're dealing with. This isn't just a murder. This is something else. This is cruelty on a level that shakes even seasoned detectives. The boy's body is in bad shape. Decomposition has set in. They can't identify him right away. No ID. No missing persons report that matches. Nobody knows who this child is. For months, he remains a mystery. They bury him as the boy known to be God because they don't have a name to put on the headstone. Can you imagine that? A 5-year-old boy buried without his own name because nobody reported him missing. But let's go back to what happened before that suitcase ended up in those woods. Let's talk about what Dawn Coleman saw, what she admitted to. Coleman later told investigators that she walked into the home she shared with Dejon Anderson in Louisville and saw something that would haunt anyone. She said she found Dejon Anderson on top of Cairo, on top of him. Now, the details of exactly what that means, what Coleman saw in that moment, those details paint a picture of a child who was being hurt by his own mother. Coleman didn't call the police. She didn't try to save Cairo. She didn't do anything to stop what was happening. Instead, she helped. After Cairo died, Dawn Coleman helped Dejon Anderson hide his body. They put that little boy in a suitcase, a Las Vegas-style suitcase, and they drove from Louisville, Kentucky, to the woods of southern Indiana. They carried him into those trees and left him there like he never existed. Moving on, because this is where it gets even more twisted. Coleman and Anderson didn't just dump the body and disappear into normal life. No, they kept moving, kept running, and that's how they ended up in South Carolina in that high-speed chase with Cairo still alive in the back seat. Wait, hold on, let me make sure you're catching this. The traffic stop happened in March. Cairo was found dead in April. That means when those troopers pulled them over, when they handed Cairo to Dawn Coleman and let them go, Cairo was still alive. He had one more month of whatever hell he was living through with these two women. One more month before his mother would take his life and stuff him in a suitcase. The system had him, right there, in their hands, and they gave him back. So now we have a dead child in a suitcase, no name, no identity, just a little boy who somebody threw away. Investigators in Washington County, Indiana, are working a case that's already cold before it even starts. They don't know who this child is. They don't know where he came from. They don't know who killed him. All they have is a suitcase and a body. The forensics team gets to work. They're looking at everything. The suitcase itself, the clothing on the boy, any trace evidence that might tell them something, anything, about who this child was or who put him there. But here's the problem with cases like this. When a body has been outside for a while, evidence degrades. DNA gets harder to pull. The elements destroy what little you might have had. Detectives start running missing children reports from all over the country. Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, Ohio. They're looking for any child who matches the description. Any family who reported a boy missing around the right age, the right time frame. But nothing matches. Nobody's looking for this boy, or at least nobody reported him missing. Think about that for a second. A 5-year-old disappears and nobody files a report. No family member, no school, no neighbor, nobody. That tells you everything you need to know about how invisible Cairo was in life. He was a child that people weren't looking for. Months go by. The case isn't getting anywhere. They end up burying the boy with the name, the boy known to be God, on his marker, because they have no other name to give him. Investigators don't give up, though. They keep pushing, keep running leads, keep hoping something will break. And then, finally, something does. Detectives catch a break through database cross-referencing. They match the child's information with missing children databases, and a name comes up. Cairo Jordan. Last known address, Louisville, Kentucky. Mother, Dejon Anderson. And just like that, the boy in the suitcase has his name back. Now the investigation shifts. It's no longer about who the victim is. It's about who killed him. And the trail leads straight to Louisville, straight to Dejon Anderson and Dawn Coleman. But here's the thing. By the time investigators connect the dots and identify Cairo, both women are gone. They're in the wind. Nobody knows where they are. Indiana State Police issue warrants. They put out alerts. They start a manhunt that's going to stretch across state lines and last for months. Sergeant Carrie Halls with Indiana State Police makes it clear.
Very active investigation, any lead, anything that we can do to locate the mother in this case is what we're going to do. I'm confident that will happen, that we will find her.
But confident doesn't mean quick. Dejon Anderson knows how to move. She's been running since before Cairo's body was even found. Remember, she posted bail after that South Carolina traffic stop and disappeared. She's had practice. Dawn Coleman, on the other hand, she doesn't run as far or as long. Investigators track her down. They bring her in. And this is where the case starts to come together, because Coleman starts talking. She tells them about the house in Louisville. She tells them what she saw. She admits she found Dejon Anderson on top of Cairo. She admits she helped hide the body. She tells them about putting Cairo in that suitcase and driving to Indiana. She gives them everything. But here's what she also says, and this is where it gets real twisted. Coleman claims that they believed Cairo was possessed by the devil. Possessed by the devil. That's the excuse. That's what she's putting out there. Like that somehow makes what they did understandable. Like believing a 5-year-old child is possessed justifies killing him and throwing him away in the woods. Make it make sense. Coleman takes a plea deal. She agrees to testify against Dejon Anderson when they find her. In exchange, she gets 30 years, 25 in prison, 5 suspended. It's a heavy sentence, but it's not murder. She's getting charged with aiding, not the actual killing. And that distinction matters in court.
Video tonight shows Dejon Anderson, Dawn Coleman, and Cairo Jordan in the hands of law enforcement just 1 month before the 5-year-old boy was found dead in a suitcase in southern Indiana. State police announced Dawn Coleman's arrest in October, charged with aiding in the boy's murder. Well, his mother, Dejon Anderson, walks free. Police are still searching for the 37-year-old. They say she is responsible for Cairo's death. And tonight, for the first time, we're sharing a police chase, ending with Cairo in an officer's hands 1 month before he was found dead. On a blustery Saturday night in March, a South Carolina state trooper said this 2019 Dodge Challenger was going more than 30 miles over the speed limit. With sirens on, he chased for 30 miles until...
You think he ran out of gas?
They ran out of gas, and troopers used a pit maneuver.
Pit.
Eventually, the Challenger died.
Put your hands up!
They surrounded the car and repeatedly asked the driver, Dejon Anderson, to open the doors.
We're gonna bust the glass!
When the doors finally opened, troopers took out Dawn Coleman first.
Oh no, there's a baby right there. I don't have nothing.
Then they pulled out Dejon Anderson. With the 2 in handcuffs, they turned to the 5-year-old in the back seat.
What's his name? Jordan?
Cairo Jordan.
Here, hold your jacket, okay? Back out. Let's try to get you out of here. Y'all just ran out of gas.
Yes, that's why we were trying to hurry up and
Get to Georgia?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, you are under arrest, okay?
A trooper asks for the child's name again, and Dejon tells him Cairo's name is Jason Jordan. Dawn Coleman says she's the child's aunt and can take care of him. The trooper makes a call and comes back with this.
I'm going to call Lieutenant. Okay. See what you want to do with me. She's the sister. Just get the child, Jason, with you, and get him up to the 33 at a hotel for the night until y'all got...
Dejon Anderson was charged with child endangerment and speeding. She paid her bail the next day, March 13th, and drove off. Cairo was found dead a month later. Now, if you see Dejon Anderson anywhere, you are encouraged to call 911.
March 2023. Almost a full year after Cairo's body was found, almost 2 years after that traffic stop in South Carolina, Dejon Anderson is finally arrested. The nationwide manhunt ends. They got her. She's brought back to face charges, and the list is long. Murder, first-degree manslaughter, criminal abuse, abuse of a corpse. The state is coming for her with everything they have. This isn't a case where they're trying to figure out what happened. They know what happened. They have Dawn Coleman ready to testify. They have the evidence. They have the body. What they need now is to make sure the case is airtight. But then things start getting complicated. Dejon Anderson's case hits delay after delay, mental health evaluations, competency hearings. At one point, she tries to represent herself in court. The legal system has to determine if she's even fit to stand trial. Months pass, the case drags, and prosecutors in Washington County, Indiana, start realizing they have a problem. See, the crime happened in Kentucky. That's where Cairo died. That's where Dejon Anderson killed him. The body just ended up in Indiana. And when you're building a murder case, jurisdiction matters. Where the crime occurred matters. The defense could argue appeals. They could poke holes. They could drag this out even longer. So prosecutors make a decision. They're going to move the case to Kentucky. Jefferson County, to be exact. That's where the murder happened. That's where the strongest case can be built. In late 2024, a Jefferson County grand jury indicts Dejon Anderson on all charges. The Washington County prosecutors dismiss their case and hand it over. Prosecutor Tara Coates Hunt explains the move. Shifting the case to Kentucky gives it a stronger legal foundation and avoids future appeal issues. It's the right call legally, but it also means starting parts of the process over. New court, new jury pool, new arraignment. Anderson is set to be arraigned in Kentucky in December. Her trial date isn't clear yet. The case is still working its way through the system. But while all this legal maneuvering is happening, there's another trial that already took place. Dawn Coleman's sentencing. October 2023. Dawn Coleman stands in a Washington County courtroom in Indiana. She's already taken her plea deal. She's already admitted what she did. Now it's time for the judge to hand down her sentence. And Judge Larry Medlock doesn't hold back. Coleman doesn't show any emotion during the hearing. She stands there, quiet. She chooses not to speak. But the judge speaks for her. And what he says is powerful. Unfortunately, the walls of your jail cell for the next 25 years will be nothing compared to the walls of that suitcase. I hope the image is forever etched in your memory. Let that sit for a second. The walls of a jail cell versus the walls of a suitcase. A 5-year-old boy crammed into a space so small, so dark, so final. And Coleman put him there. She helped put him there. But Judge Medlock isn't done. He goes further. It was thought that this child was possessed by the devil, but it's you, Dawn Coleman, that has the devil in your soul. The courtroom is silent. Because what do you even say to that? The judge just laid out the truth in the rawest way possible. Coleman and Anderson convinced themselves that Cairo was the problem, that he was evil, that he was possessed. But the real evil was sitting right there in that courtroom. The real devil was the person who watched a child die and then helped throw him away. Judge Medlock also points out something that cuts deep. He says loved ones didn't show up in support of Cairo Jordan. No family members there to speak for him. No one there to represent the little boy whose life was stolen. Cairo was alone in life, and he's alone in death. The only person speaking for him is the judge. Coleman gets her 30 years. 25 in the Indiana Department of Corrections. 5 suspended with probation after. She'll be eligible to get out eventually, but she's going to spend a long time behind bars. And part of her deal is that she has to testify against Dejon Anderson. When that trial happens, Coleman will take the stand and tell a jury what she saw in that Louisville home. What she did, what Anderson did. But that trial can't happen until they keep Anderson in custody. And even then, it's not guaranteed to be quick. Anderson's case has already been through competency evaluations. She's been deemed fit to stand trial. But the delays have been real. The mental health questions, the attempts to self-represent, the case moving from Indiana to Kentucky. All of it adds up to time. Time that Cairo doesn't have. Time that his story sits in limbo while the legal system grinds forward. Sergeant Kerry Halls with Indiana State Police says it best. Innocent until proven guilty. She needs her day in court. We want her to come here and answer for that, to give her side of the story. Dejon Anderson will get her day in court, eventually. The charges are serious. The evidence is strong. Dawn Coleman is ready to testify. The suitcase is evidence. Cairo's body told its own story. This isn't a case where the state is guessing. They know what happened. They know who did it. Now it's just a matter of letting the legal process play out. But here's what stays with you about this case. It's not just the murder. It's not just the suitcase, it's the missed opportunities. That traffic stop in South Carolina. Cairo was right there. Officers had him. They could have called child services. They could have dug deeper. They could have asked more questions. Instead, they handed him to Dawn Coleman and let him go. 1 month later, he was dead. Oh. So now we're supposed to believe that nobody could have seen this coming? That there were no red flags? A high-speed chase? A mother lying about her child's name? A woman claiming to be the aunt who isn't even related? And they just let it go. They let Cairo go, back into the hands of the people who would kill him. Cairo Jordan was 5 years old. He never got to turn 6, never got to lose his first tooth, never got to learn to ride a bike, never got to have a childhood that didn't include pain. His life was stolen by the one person who was supposed to protect him above everyone else. His mother. This case sits heavy because of what it represents. It's not just about one child, it's about how many Cairo Jordans are out there right now. Kids who are invisible, kids who nobody's checking on, kids who slip through every crack in a system that's supposed to catch them before they fall. That traffic stop in South Carolina haunts this entire story because that was the moment. That was when someone with authority had eyes on Cairo, had him right there, and they let him go. They didn't dig deeper. They didn't ask the hard questions. They took the adults at their word and sent that little boy back into a nightmare. 1 month later, he was dead. So what do we learn from this? What's the takeaway? It's simple. When something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. When a parent lies about their child's name to police, that's not normal. When adults are running from cops with a kid in the car, that child is not safe. Period. We can't keep giving people the benefit of the doubt when a child's life is on the line. Cairo Jordan's name should be remembered, not just as a victim, not just as the boy in the suitcase, but as a reminder that we have to do better. Law enforcement has to do better. Child Protective Services has to do better. We, as a society, have to do better. Dawn Coleman is serving her time. She'll spend the next 25 years thinking about that suitcase, thinking about what she saw, thinking about what she did. And maybe, just maybe, the judge was right. Maybe that image will be etched in her memory forever. It should be. Dejon Anderson is awaiting trial. She's sitting in a cell right now, knowing that when her day in court comes, Dawn Coleman is going to take the stand and tell everything. The evidence is stacked against her. The truth is coming, and there's no running from it this time. But none of that brings Cairo back. None of that gives him the childhood he deserved. None of that erases the terror he must have felt in his final moments. A 5-year-old boy who knew his own mother was hurting him, who had nobody to save him, who ended up in a suitcase in the woods like he never mattered. Cairo mattered. His life mattered. His story matters. And if telling it means even one person pays closer attention to a child who seems off, to a situation that doesn't feel right, to a parent who's lying about basic facts, then maybe his death wasn't completely in vain. This is the reality of domestic violence. It doesn't just happen between partners. It happens to children, behind closed doors, in homes where nobody's looking, in families where nobody's asking questions. And by the time someone notices, by the time someone steps in, it's often too late. Cairo Jordan deserved better. He deserved a mother who loved him. He deserved adults who protected him. He deserved a system that caught the warning signs before they became a tragedy. He deserved to grow up. Instead, he got a suitcase in the woods. That's Cairo Jordan's story. A 5-year-old boy from Louisville, Kentucky, whose life was cut short by the people who should have loved him most. His case is still working through the courts. Justice is slow, but it's coming. Dawn Coleman is already behind bars. Dejon Anderson's trial is on the horizon, but for Cairo, none of that matters anymore. He's gone. And all we can do now is remember his name and make sure we're paying attention to the next child who needs someone to see them, to hear them, to save them before it's too late. Rest in peace, Cairo Jordan. You deserved so much more than this world gave you. That's it for this episode of 12 a.m. Crimes. If this story affected you, take a moment to check on the children in your life. Pay attention. Ask questions. Be the person who sees what others miss. If you want to stay updated on cases like Cairo's, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let me know your thoughts. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story, share it. Until next time, stay aware, stay vigilant, and remember, these aren't just stories. These are real lives, real victims, real families destroyed by violence. I'll see you at 12 a.m.